And now I am pleased to invite Adriana Tramullas to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Ivana. I just stay for one more minute to make the link between these two sessions. So as Virginia was saying, a new pathway, the sixth pathway of the Glasgow Declaration, will be on adaptation. And we find ourselves at a major policy window because not only Glasgow is giving more importance to adaptation, but also the European Commission is set to publish a new integrated framework on climate resilience and risk management towards the end of the year. It was mentioned by Andrea Staiko this morning. So it is very timely to be discussing about climate adaptation and resilience. And so therefore, the next session is a presentation of a thematic paper exploring this very pressing issue for Mediterranean destinations. And it presents and elaborates on how nature and cultural heritage can strengthen resilience in coastal tourism areas. And this is a result of the work of the Med Cluster on climate change adaptation, which is one of the initiatives of the Sustainable Tourism Community. So I just invite to come on stage to Marianne Lang. She's an independent consultant, and she's the one that produced this thematic paper. Thank you very much, Marianne.
Okay, can you all hear me? Hello and good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here and to have the opportunity to listen to all the interesting presentation we had until now. Actually, so my name is Marianne Lang, and I will present you now the main insights from the thematic paper Climate Resilience in Coastal Tourism Destinations. And as we already said, so this paper it was actually developed with the Med Cluster on climate change adaptation over the last months. And so the objective of my presentation now is to share with you some of the key challenges, key opportunities, and also messages emerging from this work. And at the same time, to set the scene for the panel discussion that follows, where several Mediterranean projects will showcase their practical solutions to move from theory to action. So with that in mind, let's first look at why climate resilience matters for Mediterranean tourism destinations. Actually, the Mediterranean is a unique region where tourism, climate, natural ecosystem, and cultural heritage are closely interconnected. And actually, we know that tourism is a major economic sector in the Mediterranean. Tourism is also highly concentrated in coastal and island destinations, which are particularly vulnerable to climate change. And the attractiveness of these destinations largely depend on natural ecosystems and cultural heritage. Actually, the Mediterranean is at the same time a climate hotspot, a tourism hotspot, and a biodiversity hotspot. And this unique combination makes climate resilience a strategic priority for Mediterranean destinations. Climate resilience can be understood as the capacity of tourism destinations to anticipate, to respond, and to recover from climate impact, while maintaining their attractiveness and long-term sustainability. So this is particularly important in the Mediterranean due to what we describe in the paper as the Mediterranean double challenges. So the growing overlap between the climate pressures and the tourism pressures, heat waves, water scarcity, coastal erosion and other weather events are becoming more intense and frequent across the Med. At the same time, tourism remains highly seasonal, concentrated in coastal and islands destinations, which creates significant pressures on natural resources, on ecosystem, and cultural heritage. So the key point is that tourism demand tends to peak precisely when environmental stress is highest. So this growing overlap is increasing the vulnerability of the Mediterranean destinations. So the assets that make Mediterranean destination attractive are increasingly under pressure. According to some projection, actually, the frequency and the severity of the heat waves are expected to significantly increase, with summer daily maximum temperature projected to rise up to 7 degrees by the end of the century. A quick ongoing example. These days, in France is experiencing its first heat wave of the year, with a maximum temperature expected to reach up to 40 degrees. So we are still in spring season. So this is not only projection, this is actually already our realities. It's not isolated, it's not only France, it's a lot of countries in the Med. Rising temperature actually are not only affecting air temperature, they're also affecting marine ecosystems. Marine heat waves are more and more recorded, and they can trigger mass mortality events among sensitive species. Climate change is also accelerating the degradation of essential habitats. They're also reducing the ecosystem services they provide, like coastal protection or climate regulation. Cultural heritage face similar challenges. Many Mediterranean sites are already exposed to sea level rise, to flooding, to erosion, to temperature variation, which can lead to structural deterioration and restricted access. And actually, 37 UNESCO coastal sites are already at risk from flooding and 42 from erosion. So climate change is not a future concern, as I said. It's already affecting some of the natural and cultural assets on which Mediterranean tourism depends. That's okay. So the climate pressures are not only affecting actually ecosystems and cultural heritage, they are also beginning to affect the tourism sector. Resource management is becoming a major challenge across the Med. One of the main examples is water scarcity. Tourism water demand peaks during the summer months, precisely when water resources level are at their lowest level, and competition with other use are becoming more intense. At the same time, the frequent heat waves are reducing visitor comfort, limiting outdoor activities, and influencing travel behavior, especially for more vulnerable groups. As a result, climate change is beginning to affect the attractiveness of destinations themselves. Projections suggest that the attractiveness of peak summer months could decline significantly by the middle of the century, while some tourism demand may progressively shift towards higher latitude destinations, offering more comfortable climate conditions. Yet, many Mediterranean destinations remain organized around short peak seasons and are not well equipped to support a year-round tourism due to limitation in infrastructure, services, or workforce availability. So this highlights a growing mismatch between tourism models, resource availability, and climate realities. So why is action difficult? Actually, Virginia mentioned some of the challenge already. Our first challenge relates to fragmented governance. The sectors that need to work together to build climate resilience are often managed separately by the different institutions at different levels of governance. As a result, coordination remains limited, making integrated response more difficult to implement. Another challenge relates to implementation capacity. Many destinations face limited financial resources, limited technical capacity, expertise, and a lack of data or adequate tools. Actually, moving from planning to long-term action remains a major challenge. The project involved in the MED cluster highlighted the difficulty of maintaining stakeholders' engagement over time, of making complex concepts more accessible, and ensuring that the project results will continue to generate impact after funding has ended. So climate resilience should not be seen only as a response to a risk. It's also an opportunity to rethink tourism system. Natural ecosystem and cultural heritage can also become powerful adaptation assets. By protecting, restoring, and sustainably managing ecosystem, nature-based solutions can help reduce climate risk, restore ecosystem function, reduce heat stress and erosion, improve water regulation, and at the same time enhance destination attractiveness. Cultural heritage-based solutions can play similar important role. They can help diversify tourism experiences across seasons and territories, reduce pressure on coastal hotspots. Then they can also improve visitor comfort, safety, and accessibility through new technologies or mobilize traditional knowledge. So in other words, they generate benefits both for climate resilience and for tourism development. So the project of the MED cluster provided practical examples of how these opportunities can be translated into actions. The solutions cover different approaches to climate resilience, from participatory governance, climate planning, to nature-based solutions, cultural heritage adaptation, water resilience using traditional knowledge or new tools, and regenerative tourism. So I will not go into detail of each solution. Actually, the thematic paper provides a more comprehensive description of them. And some of the projects will have the opportunity to present their experience during the panel discussion that follows. So to conclude, the MED cluster converges around 5 short key messages. Participatory governance is essential for effective and locally adapted solutions in Mediterranean destinations. Climate resilience required integrated, cross-sectoral, and multi-level approaches that connect tourism with other sectors. Nature and cultural heritage-based solutions are powerful levers for climate resilience in Mediterranean destinations. Scaling up solutions requires adapted policies, targeted funding, and stronger local capacities. And finally, destinations need strategic foresight to anticipate future climate conditions and adapt their tourism model accordingly. So I think I'm reaching the end. So if you'd like to explore these elements in more detail, the full thematic paper is available through the QR code you have online, but you also have probably access through the website and the app. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marianne. Your presentation illustrates something particularly important. When discussing climate resilience, we often focus on technology, infrastructure, and regulation. Yet many of the solutions already exist within our landscapes, our ecosystems, and our cultural heritage. Thank you for sharing these valuable insights and practical examples.